Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Up Supercast Game Club. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. And joining me today, I have Ills.
I forgot. I forgot to think of anything good to say.
Good job. And I have Noah. Oh no, sounds like you got eliminated.
Yep.
Also sounded like you're just a normal grunt enemy on every level. And you hear that sound effect a lot, over and over again.
Yes, very, very much.
And you know what video game you hear that sound that sounds just like that and over
Which
again
one?
Is Sin and Punishment Star Successor.
Whoa!
Whoa! For the Wii, the Nintendo Wii, the whatever you want to call it. I guess you can only call it two things. But this game was released way back in 2009 in Japan, October 29th to be exact. Then got a release in Europe and North America in 2010. It was also re-released on the Wii U Nintendo eShop as part of like some promotion. They also re-released the first Sin and Punishment game at the same time on the same date on the eShop in 2015. This is a sequel to a game that we've already played before. We played the original Sin and Punishment. I don't remember when it was. I guess it was.
It was January.
It was in January. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was this year.
That was for the N64, but it was also released on the Wii Virtual Console, right?
Yes.
The original one. The original one was on the N64. Only came out in Japan. Was released on the Wii Virtual Console elsewhere outside of Japan, and then again on the Wii U Virtual Console. So this is the sequel to that game. It's called Sin and Punishment Star Successor. It was developed by Treasure and published by Nintendo. So same situation as the original game as well. Also developed by Treasure and published by Nintendo.
Nice.
This game being published by Nintendo, it's teen. It's rated teen. A little more violent and weird than you'd normally see a game that Nintendo would publish, but just like in the vein of the first one, it's very, very fucking weird.
At least it doesn't have like a sea of blood.
Yeah. It wasn't as, well, story-wise at least, it wasn't as crazy and convoluted as the first one was, but it was still out there.
Well, I think the reason for that is that they actually had like cutscenes where they explain like their relationship to each other. In the first game, it was really fucking left.
Yeah,
and like
was it kind of they still didn't like at the right off the bat like explain who the fuck this is, who the fuck is that, but like you just start off as this guy running with the girl, shooting everything, trying to escape to somewhere. You have no idea why, who they are, what their relation to is. But then, like you said, they do play a cutscene. It was like explain a little bit by little as you go.
Does a better job than the first game. I do
much better.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Ills, because you picked this game. Why did you pick this game?
Yeah. I mean, we enjoyed the first game. I already owned this game, and I thought it would be, a fun little, call back to the earlier episode. And I wanted to see what they did with it. And I was really wondering, like, if they actually explained anything from the first game or anything like that. And they did. So
it did not. I do just want to, kind of go over, because we mentioned that this game was related to the first game a little bit, because it is a direct sequel.
Yes.
It takes place years after the original one. And I'm gonna go over like what the Wikipedia says on the story, because it's fucking ridiculous. All right, so this right here gives you more of an explanation than the actual game itself does. Okay.
Well, they give you a little bit of explanation inside the instruction booklet, but yeah, the game doesn't do it.
Yeah. It says, taking place many years after the original Sin and Punishment, Star Successor reveals there's two dimensions present within the universe, inner space and outer space. The leaders of inner space, known as the Creators, created and cultivated several Earths populated by humans to defend against outer space. Whenever humans stray from their intended path by attempting to bring peace, their creators wipe them out and create a new Earth. Okay?
Where the fuck did they say this in the game?
That was never in the game, though.
No, it was not. And it says, outer space sends a Renaissance unit in the form of a human girl to investigate the humans. However, in the process of infiltration, she loses her memory and wanders into the ruins of Earth 4 instead of the human-populated Earth 5. An agent from Earth... Yeah.
They never explained that either. They did say that it was Earth 4 and 5, but they never explained anything about Earth 4 and 5.
She's not a
they
human.
Just mention it.
She's a Renaissance unit in the form of a human.
In the form of a human.
In the form of a human girl.
We knew that she was an alien, but go on.
And they never say anything about inner space or outer space.
No, they don't.
Nope.
They literally don't.
They did mention the creators, though.
It does. It does mention the creators. That's basically one of the main enemies you fight. And it says, an agent from Earth 5, Issa Joe, is sent to find and kill the outer space infiltrator. But after observing how he concludes she is harmless, and he names her Kachi, he decides to protect her. In response, the creators send a group known as the Nebulox, led by apparently his former ally, Deco, to tell Issa that Kachi is a monster capable of destroying entire worlds and that he must destroy her. Issa refuses.
Yeah, that part we saw, yeah.
Yeah, Issa refuses, and they both try to kill both of them, and that's basically the game right there. But what the fuck kind of shit convoluted stuff?
How did they figure all that out? Like, there weren't any, like, unlockables that unlocked, like, pieces of lore and shit. Like, how the fuck?
There is an instruction booklet with the game that...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the instruction booklet tells you some of that stuff.
Some of it. Not all of it.
Yeah, I remember you opening it and we were looking through it.
It's a pretty thick instruction book, but it's full color. They don't do instruction books like that anymore, that's for sure. And they don't, if they do them at all, which is very rare in the first place. And it's only as thick as it is because it has like 4 languages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's got full color and pictures, like artwork and stuff. It's a pretty nice instruction booklet, honestly.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, kind of makes me miss that kind of stuff. But yeah, so you play as Issa. You find out later on that it's directly tied into the first game because Issa is the son of the main character of the original game.
Saki and Iron.
Yeah.
The two main characters, basically.
The two main characters of the first game. So, I guess he is their son. And you just find out through a random cutscene in the middle of the game. So
and surprisingly enough, like in the first game, they show a cutscene of them having a son. So this is that guy, I guess.
Yeah, I do remember that. It was like near the end of the game, right? In the first one?
It was in the second stage. At the end of the second stage, they go through like a dream sequence or whatever. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, and he became one of the demon/angel/alien whatever, and then it was so fucking weird.
They were called ruffians, sir.
So this game, we talked about the story, which is batshit, like just like the first one, but a little bit better. The first one was just fucking weird, and I do want to go into talk about the gameplay though, because the gameplay is the best part of this game by far.
Hell yeah! Holy shit, way improved.
Yeah, so,
they definitely made it miles better.
Yeah, so the game is an on-rails shooter, and it just like the first one, it's very arcade-like. You have high scores and stuff, but it just constantly... The Wii was made for on-rail shooters. It really was.
Mm-hmm. This game magnificently uses the Wii pointer. The controls are just so spot on. Like, it feels so good to play. Absolutely.
Because, so the first game was also an on-rail shooter, but it was on the N64. So it didn't have pointer controls, which just feels great on the Wii with the on-rail shooter type games. So the N64, the control scheme was a little weird because it was built around the N64 controller. So it made you like move with buttons and aim with the control stick. It all felt, and then there was all sorts of other stuff. You could do melee attacks and jump and stuff, but it just felt kind of cumbersome on the N64.
Yeah,
but here
it took a lot of getting used to.
It definitely did.
Whereas
There's
in this
multiple
game,
play styles, but this game, you just on the default play style, it just feels great.
Smooth as hell.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like what they wanted to do with the first one is now just come to light now.
Yeah.
It feels like what they were trying to do, and it's awesome.
Yeah, this is the full potential of this kind of game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, because in this one you use the nunchuck to move around, and you just aim with the pointer, and you shoot with the B button. Yeah. And I think you use ZR to do melee attacks, or A. I can't remember.
You use the shoot button to do melee.
Oh yeah, you use the shoot button. Yeah, to do melee attacks.
But then you also have a dodge button, and then you can hover by pressing up. Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, so you can you have a little jetpack. Your character has a jetpack, so you can basically move in all directions on the screen.
Or if you're playing as Kachi, you have a hoverboard.
Yeah, I wanted to play as Kachi, but I didn't like her aiming style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she had more like an auto aim type thing.
Yeah,
it was
like a
auto-aim,
lock-on
so
system.
Yeah, so you do get to play as both characters, which is pretty cool. I think you get to do that in the first game. I can't remember though.
They automatically switch you. Like you play the first level as Saki, the second level is Iron, and the third level is Saki.
Oh yeah. Okay. But this game, it's like you get to choose, and it kind of changes how the gameplay is throughout the whole game. And there's even one level where as Issa, you're on like a hover bike, but when you play as Kachi, you get to ride on like a little dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
So that's cool, and I don't know if they control any different really.
No, they don't. I played a little bit of Kachi, and they're pretty much exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. But they have different aiming styles, which is pretty neat.
Well, I mean,
with Issa you can choose to lock on to targets or do it manually. With Kachi you can only lock on with them. It's weird.
No, but you can do multiple lock-ons with Kachi. Like you can lock on to 7 people at once.
Yeah. But her shots are weaker in consequence of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's not bad. She's pretty good.
That's cool. That's cool. I think we all just played through the game as Issa.
Yeah.
It was just he's like the default, so I'll just play it through like that. But gameplay feels really good. It's fast. It's chaotic, almost to a fault sometimes, but it's still really it's really crazy. It's not only cool to play, but I feel like even this would be a cool game to walk into somebody and watch them play. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I basically did for the second half, and then I jumped in for the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
Yeah, me and Noah played the 2-player co-op mode.
Oh.
And it doesn't really. It's kind of a dumb mode because I first were like, oh, maybe you get to each play as each character.
Yeah, that would have been really cool, but I literally am just like a second cursor. And
he's just a second cursor.
And I can't do charge shots, I can't do melee attacks, I can just literally, it's like, okay, I'm shooting everything.
Man.
It did make a lot of segments a lot easier and less frustrating, that's for sure.
It made a lot of the boss battles even easier, which is cool. Especially near the end of the game, we were just like, all right, nice.
Yeah, it's like he was focusing on dodging everything. I was just sitting there, like, brrrr.
Yeah.
Damn. Well,
which
I guess
the dodge roll is kind of like
not
broken.
To have friends. Yeah.
Yeah, pays to have friends sometimes. The dodge roll is almost broken because it's just you can't get hurt while you're dodging.
Well, I mean, there are portions in the game where there are bullets on every part of the screen. So.
Literally.
Oh, no, yeah. They get super crazy, and it's one of the small things I have against this game is, it's really hard with all the flashy particles. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but with all the flashiness and shit that's going on screen, constantly, the chaos, it's really hard to distinguish the depth of the bullets that are being shot at you. So sometimes you think... this giant fucking energy ball is on the top of the screen, so if you bump into it, you'll get hurt. Mm-hmm. And you accidentally go past it, and you're like, oh, I didn't get hurt, and then all of a sudden you do get hurt afterwards. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I get that. And it's also, I agree with that. But also, there are times where, there's so much stuff to dodge that it's really hard to focus on aiming.
Yeah.
So you're basically spending all your time dodging, and you can't really, use the pointer to see what to shoot at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and your eyes are too busy just because sometimes you said it's it's almost so flashy that it like hurts your eyes. And I don't know if it's just like my contacts, and I was playing it late at night with the lights off. But I'm like, I was hurting my eyes like it was probably a combination of a bunch of shit. But I was like, oh man, like it is wow. Like, and you're trying at the same time you're trying to shoot, and there's a lot going on. So you're trying to concentrate and also shoot. So you're like,
like you have to focus on one specific point on the boss, otherwise you can't get damaged, or you have to time it right. And sometimes there are even like those shots where like it gives you a warning that there's going to be a laser beam there, and then after a few seconds it actually launches that laser beam or whatever. But like it's even then it's hard to distinguish what's the warning and what's the actual shot.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you're playing this game, you're gonna die.
Yep.
You're gonna die. You really are. And I don't know if anybody listening to this has ever played a Treasure game before. They are not known for making like super easy games. That's for sure.
No. Yeah.
Treasure likes to make action games that are they're fair, but they're also very difficult. Sometimes they're not even fair, but yeah. I guess, yeah.
But this one is. I would say that. They give you a lot of checkpoints. Yeah.
Yeah, because you get, unlike the first game that had lives. It had checkpoints, but it had lives, and if you run out of lives, you had to start the stage over again.
Yes.
This game didn't have lives, so if you died, and they're pretty generous with the checkpoints, you would just go back to the last checkpoint. So it wasn't really that bad when you died. If you were obsessive with getting a high score, you'd get mad because your score goes back to 0 when you die. But for me, I don't give a fuck about that. They do have online leaderboards, which are
they dead. Kept trying to make us post it, even though the Wii services have been down for years now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's a lot more fair than the first game, and it's a pretty fair game. You're gonna die, and you're gonna die a lot. But it's not really that frustrating because the checkpoints are generally pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple bosses where I got a little bit like, I gotta do this again, but it's not anything that I was like really, really mad about,
I believe it was the last boss of stage 6 when you're fighting Deku for the first time. Oh man, so many bullets, so many things on the screen. Like it was really hard to see like which to hit and when to dodge. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
That was one of the hardest bosses, I thought.
Yeah, speaking of the bosses though, I liked a lot of them.
Hell yeah, they were sick.
Yeah, the game has some cool boss fights that you encounter throughout the way, and some of them are pretty. They're honestly the further you get into the game, the more like inventive they get with them.
I really like the stage in the volcano where you're being chased by the buffalo thing. And you have to the only way to damage it is to cut, you're on a runaway train that's going in one direction, behind you there's a bull chasing, and you have to cut the train carts so they fall back and hit him. Yeah. You have to aim it so you hit the right cart, because there's a right lane, a left lane, and a middle lane. Depending where the buffalo is, you have a rear view mirror, you can see where he is, and you have to hit the right cart so it crashes into him. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was cool. And then on that same part too, if you use your jetpack, there would be a little timer that would go off because you're going at such high speeds that you get blown away if you're in the air.
Yeah,
for too long. Yeah.
So it's a good way to balance from using your jetpack too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because most of the other game, most of the rest of the game, you can hover for as long as you want at any time. It's really fun though. It's super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really cool, and there was the boss where just right after that with a little baby dinosaur thing, and he's got a crane, and
that was hilarious.
Yeah, he's trying to lower Kachi into the lava, and you have to balance two platforms to bring him up to the top of the volcano, but you can't shoot one too much or it'll collapse. And you also have to go fast enough to make sure that she doesn't get dropped in the lava. It's stupid, but it's fun. It's cool. It's different. Changes up the gameplay a little bit. Makes you think.
And I really like when you fight him right after that. It's like a 2D battle. Then it's fucking dope. I love that.
Yeah, it turns into a fighting game.
The fighting game, yeah.
What the fuck was that?
That's super cool.
It was super
pretty cool, yeah.
I was like, what? I did not expect that at all. I was like, well, what the hell is happening? It wasn't a very good fighting game, but it was a fighting game.
I mean, I like that boss fight. I don't know.
No, I did like it, but it was just like, I think all you had was what, like the dodge and the punch, right? So you just had to like try to time it.
You mean that guy? No, I was talking about the small guy on the crane.
Right, no. I'm talking about the guy when it literally turns into like a one-on-one fighter.
Yeah. That's Deku. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Deku.
Yeah. That part was cool too. Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool because it was just like a random like, what the hell? There was also, speaking of what the hell, I think it was the boss of the second stage where he just like turns into like dolphins and shit.
Oh yeah, fucking fish. They're like different fish. First it was a manta ray, then it turns into a dolphin, and then it was something else. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That second stage was fucking dope.
It was really cool. Like, I think that was the coolest environment in the game. You just go under like this underwater like aquarium like tunnel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. Actually, like visually, this game looks really nice while you play it. You know, I'm not one for you being a stickler for frame rates, right? So, in terms of like, oh, this game runs at this many frames per second, I have no idea. But I'll say that it runs fine to me, and it looks good.
Yeah.
Especially for a Wii game.
It feels smooth. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And like it kind of, you know, it's got an art style.
I'm not too crazy about the textures and the models of the people.
Yeah.
That art style, but it's okay.
It's like a pastel kind of art style, I guess. It's kind of weird.
But I like the designs of all the bosses. Like, I mean,
the bosses themselves, like the creatures, that were really cool.
Them and like the Nebulux bosses or whatever. Like, I like their designs, like just their like human form designs. Like that guy who turns into fish, he has like this little hat that's like off. It's funny. Yeah.
And there's also like the guy on the cover of the box art, right? He when you fight him, he just like drops blocks on you and stuff. First of all, that guy is like creepy as fuck. Like that guy just looks really, really weird looking, and he kind of reminds me of Bane. I don't know. It's just a mask, I guess.
Yeah.
He's got like all these tubes stuck to him. So I was like, what the hell? I looked like a Bane looking ass dude. But that was also a unique boss fight because it's almost like weird. You have to like control the blocks that are falling to make sure there's not too many of them, so you can move around to dodge attacks, but also shoot him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
There was a lot of bosses.
They just keep throwing them at you. It's
just like 3 or 5 a level, maybe more.
Yeah,
one thing I never understood, or wasn't really explained why, like the reasoning behind it. Like in every level, you're fighting against like the Nebulux and the armies of guys that are coming after you, right? But then at the same time, the Earth itself is like going against all these people, like the same people that you're going at, or like humans in general. It's acting kind of like a immune system, like normal people have in their bodies. It's acting like an immune system trying to take out the threat, which are the humans considered in the story.
Yeah.
And there's just like so many of them, so many creatures, and you like that. Most of them aren't even like bothering you, but you just have to shoot them because there's so many in the way, and it racks up your points. And it's like I don't really get why they aren't actually targeting the bad guys or you, and why there's so many and why you have to shoot them. Like, it kind of fell out of place.
Well, they are targeting. They're targeting anybody who comes, like, into conflict with them, I think. I think that's how it is.
Like, maybe 1 or 2, but, like, the majority of them that fly by, usually in the background, is, like, you see, like, while you're, like, flying around shooting, like, these giant robots, you see, like, 50 of them stroll by, like, these, like, flying manta rays or something in the background.
Well, that's one of the cool things in the lore that kind of like carries over from the first game, where like they were like, okay, since the world was so like wrecked by the ruffians in the first game, the world had to develop like this immune system response to it. So that's where the keepers came from.
Oh, I like that part. I like the lore part of it, but they felt a bit too much like fodder, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, maybe.
Like it makes sense because you obviously want things in the game for people to shoot and like enjoy shooting and stuff like that. But I don't know. It felt weird.
They do
like there were too many of them that
end.
weren't really interacting with what was going on. That were just there.
They do help out at the end. Like they are shooting
in the end,
the spaceship or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like for the first 7 stages, they're just there.
Yeah.
Not really interacting with the environment or anything. They're just flying.
And you kill him.
Yeah.
Well, they deserve it.
Well, maybe you deserve it.
Maybe.
I just kind of wish that they would either like crash into like some buildings or like kill some army, like one of the people that was shooting at you like once in a while.
Weren't they in that level with the train? Weren't some of some of them fighting against the army dudes? Because I remember them hitting a truck off the road. Do you remember that part?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that was happening in the background. I just was too busy to notice or dodging too many bullets to notice.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and some of it, like I said when I mentioned that boss, the Bane, the guy that looks like Bane, I said he's kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But the level with the forest, like that's some nightmare fuel shit going on in that level too. Like there's like creepy like ghost heads that are just coming at you.
Yeah,
it's very just it's kind of it's just creepy. It's it's like a scary kind of just like visually terrifying, like some of the enemy designs.
Another weird dream sequence in a fucking Sin and Punishment game. Oh,
yeah, man. The first one, Jesus. At least the voice acting was better in this one. Still,
yeah, it was fucking cheesy as fuck.
It was wicked campy, and like there was times where I was calling out like what they were gonna say before they even said it. Like at the end of the game when you fight all of the Nebulox people in a row, and then it gets to the last guy, and I'm just jokingly like, "Oh, screw it, I gotta do it myself," and he literally says that like 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you gonna say?
And like with Deku, we saw like 3 or 4 different cutscenes. He's saying the exact same thing. Like
I knew what he was gonna say. He just like pull out your notebook of like, what does a stereotypical villain say in these scenarios?
Generic rival character.
Yeah.
Oh man, you've been getting stronger. I haven't seen you since whatever.
Yeah, it's not anything to latch onto and like get excited about in terms of writing, but that's not why you're playing this game, anyways. Yeah. So it's fine. It's not horrendously bad, but it definitely isn't good either. It's just there.
Fine. It's fine.
Yeah, just there. It's just I'm playing this game because I want to play a game that's just fun to play, and that's literally what this is. They do a good job at it, and the music in the game is also pretty good too. I feel like I didn't really. A couple of times I noticed it, but a lot of times there's just so much going on that
I barely even noticed the music.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So many explosions and people yelling from dying, like the sound I made at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah. I'm more in tune to the sound effects of everything, just listening to the gunfire and the explosions and the shooting.
This is where having the options to like change the sound settings on sound effects, music, or like voices would come in handy.
Maybe it
actually does come in handy, yeah.
Yeah.
If you wanted to actually balance out the noise levels.
Yeah. There are some cool parts too in the game where not even really based on shooting, where you're just going through like tunnels. And there's a part that I liked in particular where you're going through like I think it might have been the second level. Where you're going
it's the water tunnel, yeah.
Yeah, you're going through these tunnels and there's doors closing, and you have to like constantly move to the parts that there's like one spot open in each of them.
Yeah,
and you just have to keep rolling.
You have to get to the spot before
I like that.
Hit the wall. Yeah,
yeah, that was fun. I like sections like that in these types of games. They're fun to do, and they make you feel awesome when you're doing them.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, this game does a good job of making you feel awesome whenever you're doing it right. Because I mean, like we said before, it feels really good to play, and the animations look really good. Like when he's hovering, when Issa or Kachi are hovering, they look dope. Like they look cool as shit. And I think that has to do, it has to do with how they were designed a little bit, because I really like Issa's design. His backpack and his whole, his Nintendo Zapper like gun. It's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Kachi's hoverboard.
Yeah,
and Kachi's
design I didn't like that much. She looked a little bit too generic, like she was going out to the mall or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She was just trying to look like a human girl, which I guess like a normal human teenager. So I guess that kind of like would fit the part, right?
This isn't the normal world. What the fuck?
I don't know. Maybe they were a few years behind.
Maybe
in their idea.
That's what happens when you try to pretend to be something you're not.
Her hoverboard looked eerily similar to the Wii balance board to me as well. Damn. I don't know if that was also on purpose. Might have been on purpose because I don't know if this game came out before Wii U, or Wii Fit. I mean, but if it did, it might be kind of a nod to that.
Wish the Wii Fit balance board could hover. I'd buy it.
That'd be sweet. I have one. I want to say too that you mentioned the design of like Issa. He looks better than the fucking guy in the first game.
Saki.
Jesus. Yeah. He looks way better. Like
I don't know. In terms of like the model itself, then yeah, but his actual like design, like his clothing and stuff and his haircut, I'm like,
I like it. I didn't like it at first, I'll give you that, but like after a while I warmed up to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I mean, he also kind of just looks like what was his job, right? Because like I mentioned earlier that he was fucking sent out. He's a special agent, right, or something. He was sent out to kill her. Mm-hmm. Like he doesn't look like that. He also kind of looks like a teenage boy.
I guess.
I mean, Japan.
Yeah.
All I know is he has a sick fucking energy backpack, isn't it?
Yeah,
nobody else. Cool. Nobody else has that energy backpack.
No, he's the only one.
Well, is there? I'm trying to think if there. I mean, I basically hit all the points in terms of this game that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if there's anything I'm missing or anything else that you guys want to mention before we move on to any other points.
Do you guys have like a favorite level that you liked, or a favorite boss fight?
I mean, favorite boss fight was probably the Buffalo Man on the train.
That we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and favorite level overall. It was probably either the second level with the water one, or I really liked the forest as well.
I was about to say that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that at the end of the game you actually do transform into a monster like in the first game, because I was kind of missing that. Like I thought the whole game we weren't going to be able to do it, but then at the end they pulled it out, and I was glad to have that back.
Yeah.
They kind of pulled it out of their ass though, in the sense. Well, I mean, the first game, the whole thing wasn't what their ass, but it's like you knew that Kachi was something different. Then she falls asleep and then fuses with you, and then.
Well, I mean, something similar happens in the first game when Iron goes into fucking Saku's mind or whatever.
With the first one, you go through the whole level. That's a dream sequence that brings out his outer self or whatever, and like as in the nightmare form kind of thing. And then he goes back to human after waking up, and then later on he learns how to exploit that and become one with that monster that was within him. You know what I mean? There was like a progress to it kind of thing, where here it's just like, boom, you're a monster now.
Well, I mean, you go through a dream sequence in this one where he kind of has to accept that, he has to use that power, and he just goes, I'm not a monster, but I'll use this, even though, you know what I mean? He does that whole thing.
Yeah, it does kind of, because it shows him, like, looking at his dad and being like, oh, what's wrong with him, Mom?
Yeah.
And his mom's like, oh, don't worry, your father's not a monster, neither are you.
Yeah.
Well, the first one had a better pace for it. That's all I'm saying.
I do also want to mention, and this is spoiler alert, so I don't know, skip ahead to like a minute or a couple, but also I doubt anybody cares that much. But I want to say that I did find out after I beat the game that there's a final ending that you can unlock if you play Issa in Kachi mode. I don't really know what that is. I don't know if you unlock it after or whatever.
You just have to beat the game with both of them.
With both? Okay. So beat the game with both. After a final scene shows Kachi's memory returning, and she reveals to Issa that her real name is Achi, implying that she was really the villain from the original Sin and Punishment game.
Yep.
And that Issa's decision to protect her was a mistake.
Yep.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So everybody was right the whole time.
Yeah, you were the bad guy.
Yep.
You are a monster.
That's a cool twist, though. I do like that.
It's cool, but I wish it wasn't
in order to unlock
Kachi.
that ending, you had to play with both the characters?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I kind of wish... I wish I saw that ending, like, after just beating the game.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
can
I
YouTube it. But
So that is a cool twist.
It is a cool twist. Also, random as fuck, but also cool.
Random as fuck, and I don't know why she was called Kachi in the first place, because that's real fucking dumb.
That's the name he gave her.
That makes no sense.
I mean, have you played either the first or this game?
I mean, I have,
the sense isn't exactly what they were going for anyway.
Yeah, I guess. It's just like there's so many. Just fucking name him anything else. Anything else. Fucking name him Brad. Bring Brad back.
I don't even know who the fuck Brad is. Was he in the first game?
It was the commander in the first
game. It was the guy in the helicopter plane, whatever it was.
I don't even remember that.
I don't even remember January.
I don't even remember January. I remember that game, but I don't remember that. That game. So this game is certainly longer than the first one. So the first game was like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
This game was probably like somewhere between like 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the first one is literally just like a fever dream. It was 2 hours long. I beat it and I was like, oh, well, okay, that happened.
I still remember, like, after we beat it, we literally both were like, what the fuck did I just play?
Yeah. This game, I think, will stick with me longer in terms of gameplay and stuff,
Well, this game was just better.
Yeah.
Like, in every way, it was better.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I remember in the first game, you had a stage 3, and there was this whole, like, side-scrolling section where, like, enemies would just, like, pop out at you.
Mm-hmm. That was, like, the forest part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated that part so much. Like, oh, man. It was a bad stage. Or bad part of the stage. Yeah, so this game never has any parts like that really jumped out at me. Like, it always felt good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really did for the most part throughout the whole time. And, it also, did have parts where it switched around the camera and switched perspectives a couple times. And even had the level where you're on the bike, but it still felt good to play. There was never parts.
It never felt cheap or like too frustrating. It always felt like, if I give it a couple more tries, I'll beat it. If I ever die, I'll give it, a couple more tries and I'll beat it. Yeah,
it never felt like when I died on the bosses. It never felt like, oh shit, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to beat this. That was way too hard. It was, I'll get better next time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know what to do. Now I know how to dodge their attacks. There was, I think, one where I died a few times, but I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, it was the one where it would like launch these missiles at you. You were like constantly scrolling around in a circle. It was like a big, like a motherboard computer or something. You remember this, Noah? And it would launch missiles at you, and the only thing I could do was it knocked the missiles back at it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was fucking. And we learned that we had to destroy everything else.
Yeah, it was like people running on the bottom line. It was just like random soldiers shooting on the bottom screen, and then there were like robots shooting lasers in the background. So I would always shoot the robots and the lasers, and then once in a while this missile launcher would drive up and just shoot missiles at him. That's the only time we could actually shoot them back to damage the boss.
You'd have to deflect them.
Wasn't that Deku, the first Deku?
I think. Oh, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That boss was fucking rough.
Yeah, I died.
So that's one of the stages where I think it benefited a lot to have a second player, because if it was one player and he had to dodge all that shit and shoot the missiles back, that'd be insane.
Well, that's what I fucking did.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely helped being co-op on that level. Even then, I still died a couple times trying to do it. I was like, this is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to move on to recommendations now. So everybody out there, this is your favorite part. You can find out if we think you should play this game. Ills, I'm going to start with you. Would you recommend Sin and Punishment Star Successor for somebody to play?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Bonus thing is that you don't have to play the first game to follow this one, because nothing matters. It's just super fun action. I would say it's like one of the best Wii pointer games out there. I really would. And yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Noah?
Yeah, you like rail shooters, definitely give this one a try. And it's on the Wii, which is like you mentioned earlier, it's like the best console for any like this type of game where you have to point at the screen and shoot. It's really fun. Like the Wii itself had like a lot of rail shooters, didn't it?
A lot of really good ones. Maybe we'll play some more at some point.
So yeah, this is definitely one of them that you want to try if that's your type of game.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, I mean, you guys, I agree with you guys. You basically said everything I would say. I mean, rail shooters, it's one of my favorite genres, and I know it's not a genre that, it's usually people look at it and say, oh, this is a good genre, because usually most of them are very shallow, because they're like arcade experiences, like House of the Dead and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. But this one isn't.
This one's not. No, it's not at all. And because this one's not built around an arcade to eat your money, it's built around being a home console game.
Mm-hmm.
And those, I think, were the best ones come around from, like House of the Dead Overkill, Dead Space Extraction, Resident Evil, Umbrella Chronicles. Those ones are built around being home console games. So I think they're, that's why when people look at rail shooters, those are like the best ones,
Yeah.
So they're not, you can't beat them in 45 minutes, like you could with like Time Crisis or something. Although I love that game, it's a game, but that's a game that you would probably be better to experience at an arcade than you would at home. So, but this is one of the best ones, I think. That it's really good. I definitely would give it a try if you're a fan of if that genre of game at all. Definitely give it a try. And even if you're not, it is kind of hard, but it's a fun game. So I think it's a game that a lot of people could enjoy regardless. So, and with that being said, now it's time to put this game on the list.
The list.
Follow along in the paste bin below. You will find the link that will show you the list. Every week we add the Game Club game to the list. It's just ongoing. It goes from number 1, which is the best, all the way to the worst. So starting with a tie between Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Metroid that might never get resolved, all the way down to the bottom of the list, number 137, Sonic the Hedgehog 06. So all the way down in hell, which we like to call it here. Now, will this game go in hell? I'll give you a spoiler. It probably won't.
No.
But where exactly will it end up on the list? We're going to start with Ills, because he chose the game, and where do you think it should go? What are you looking at right now?
Okay. I think this is one of the best. This might be the best game I've chosen on the Game Club. So I think it should go above. Maybe right below Chibi Robo.
Right below Chibi Robo.
Where's Chibi Robo? This list has gotten too big.
64.
Chibi Robo, yeah, okay. 64.
So above Einhander and Wonderful 101.
I would put it above Einhander.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah,
the thing with Einhander is, like, it was a lot more ambitious, especially for PS1 era. But it was extremely frustrating, I remember.
Yeah.
It gets really hard. It gets harder than this game does, that's for sure. I feel like...
But it wasn't because of terms of difficulty, it was because it was just... Actually, it's pretty similar to... This game has a lot of shit going on screen, but it's easier to distinguish what's going on, kind of, than Einhander was. Einhander was did it a little bit worse than that.
Well, they also do those, like, weird like perspective changes for no
Yeah,
reason.
and they do like all the cinematic views and stuff like that while you're getting shot at.
Which at the time is really cool, you know, and it definitely gets points for like.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of like the coolness scale, I think Einhander was definitely like cooler, but it in terms of gameplay, Sin and Punishment knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that, and it's more fair with its difficulty. I think Einhander, I think you had lives and you had to start stages over again, which is fucking bullshit.
Yes.
Yep.
It was a lot of tries.
Oh boy, that game gets really fucking hard and really annoying when you have to restart a whole stage.
And it also falls into that trap where, like, at the last level, like, things go completely off the fucking rails. Like, you basically lose all perspective because the camera's going fucking crazy.
Yeah. And the story goes to shit at the end of that game, too, from what I remember.
I don't even remember the game having a story.
Me neither, honestly.
I remember you go into outer space at the end of the game.
Yeah, well, that part is fucking nuts.
It's fucking... It's nuts, but it's not... It's honestly kind of a piece of shit. Because it's like the worst part of that game, because it just gets so fucking hard for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then... and then moving it past Einhander, which I think we all agree, you also think it should be above Wonderful 101, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it controls better than Wonderful 101, as you could probably attest to.
Which I can attest to because I'm literally playing that game right now. Well, not literally right now, but it's the game that I'm currently playing through, so...
Actually, I think I would put it above Kirby's Epic Yarn. Maybe like right below Lunge.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to put it above Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Come on, bro.
Man, Kirby's Epic Yarn, fucking good game though.
It's a good game, yes, but there's.
I don't know if I would put it above Chibi Robo, to be honest.
Okay. Well, jeez. Okay. The problem with Chibi Robo is that they don't tell you what to fucking do. There are parts in that game where they just refuse to tell you what to do next, and that's kind of frustrating.
Part of
an adventure game.
I love Chibi
part
Robo.
of what Chibi Robo is to like just to explore and figure out.
No, yes, but it's kind of annoying and frustrating that you have to like start from the same starting point, or those set starting points, and then like go through the whole house and not really know which way to go. Especially at the end of the game when you're running out of things to do, but you haven't found the one specific thing. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
I think for me, I only ran into that problem right near the end when you're trying to, when I was trying to get that briefcase open.
Yes.
I feel like that part was a little, like, convoluted on how you had to do it.
Yes.
But other than that, I think for the most part, I always, like, had it in my head. The game just would, like, give you just enough to know what to do.
Maybe. I don't know if I agree, but like I said, I like Chibi Robo a lot, and I'm not trying to bash Chibi Robo, but
I feel like that. I mean, that was originally like a really good spot. I mean, I feel like you threw the dart and hit it perfectly the first time. Honestly, looking at the list,
I should have went higher. Whatever. Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, I guess we'll put it at number 65. Where is the original Sin and Punishment, by the way?
99.
It's lower.
I know. Okay, because my first thing was I knew it had to be above it. Looking at the games
I looked at that and went way higher.
Yeah.
Like Sin and Punishment was at 99.
Well, it's at 100 now, but yeah.
I knew it had to be above that game because it is way better.
I don't know why, but like for some reason, I compare in terms of an N64 title having a sequel, I compare Sin and Punishment to Winback, and whereas Winback in that case was better as an original was better than a sequel, but in this case Sin and Punishment 2 was better than Sin and Punishment 1. It's weird. I don't know why I'm comparing the two, but
no, that makes sense. I mean, sequels, I don't know if sequels always feel as good as the original. I feel like a lot of times the original is better, but
yeah. I mean, the sequel should, its main thing should be to be better than the original, which, that's the most important thing, I think, when setting out to make one. And in this case, obviously, they did it. In Winback 2's case, obviously they didn't. But I think one of the main driver things for a lot of video games, unfortunately, for sometimes they make sequels, they make them a little too late, and also they don't have the same crew, so they don't have the same developers anymore. So
also sometimes in terms of like the players trying them out, like they have higher expectations, and they had a much like a positive experience the first time that it's hard to beat in a sense.
Right, but in terms of Winback, it was different development teams.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunately they decided to make a sequel, and it's not even made by the same people. So sometimes you get lost in just this. They just don't get what the original team had in mind. You know what I mean, when they go to make it. So it doesn't feel or play this as good. So you lose that. But luckily in our case, and in most cases, especially in the case of Sin and Punishment Star Successor, we did get the original developers, and they did say, hey, we're going to make a better game, and they did. So, and we as players luck out every time that happens.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So that's going to put Sin and Punishment Star Successor at number 65 on the list, and joining it's in some good games around it. We have number 63, Golden Sun, for the Game Boy Advance. Number 64 was Chibi Robo, also a Game Club game that we played earlier this year, I think. So that's an episode you should go and check out. Number 65 now is Sin and Punishment Star Successor. Number 66, we got The Wonderful 101, a game that I am currently playing for my New Year's list. So once I finish it, I'll have even more impressions on that game. So I have played it before, but now I'm going to finish it for real this time. And number 67, Einhander, a game that we may or may not have played on a very old thing called the Game Club.
Old Game Club.
Old Game Club, and that episode is lost forever. It not only is on an older podcast that is very hard to find on the internet. Also, that episode never got uploaded, so that was
Wow, Jesus, so it really is lost forever.
It really is lost forever, but it's Einhander is a pretty cool game, as you can see by its placement on the list. So that is a list. Thank you guys for listening. But before we go, we got a couple things I just want to go over real quick, including where you can find us on the internet. Because you obviously found us here and you're listening to us right now, but if you're interested in listening to more episodes, we do have plenty of them, and there'll be plenty more to come, so make sure you take a listen and follow us on anywhere you want to listen to your podcasts. You can find us on SoundCloud and on iTunes, where you can rate us 5 stars, or in any podcatcher out there. Just give us a listen or a follow. We would really appreciate it. Maybe some comments. You can also listen on YouTube if you're not already. We upload all the episodes on YouTube as well. So make sure you follow, give us a listen. We would, like I said, really appreciate it. And we'll comment back, So if you say some stupid shit, we'll probably say some stupid shit. If you show us love, we'll show you some love back. Well, it definitely will if you comment on YouTube. We also have social media, so you can find us on twitter.com/JumpUpSupercast, as well as Facebook and Instagram, also Jump Up Supercast. We're going to post episodes when they go up, so you can always just keep up to date and say, oh, there's a new episode out, take a listen. And we do have a Twitch that sometimes we will stream video games on once in a while. When we do Rankomania next month, actually, in November, actually it'll be called the Ranker Series when we do it, where we go to the list and we re-rank some of the games that are on there. That will be streaming live on twitch.tv/JumpUpSupercast. So if you want to listen to us live, I think last time we played Mario Kart before we did it, and maybe we'll play Mario Kart again, or maybe we'll play another game, who knows. It's something we got to discuss and we'll find out. But if you follow us on social media, you'll be up to date and you'll know what's going on. So make sure you do that. We would really appreciate it. Thanks for listening. But one more thing real quick. This is a game club.
Two things.
Yeah, okay.
First, I just want to congratulate Noah on winning this round with Terranigma. What a great game.
Yay!
Yeah, the round is over. If you don't know, the rounds go from Noah to Ills. So they officially go Noah, me, Will, and then Ills. So we keep track of what the best game each
we should announce who wins the round every time.
Well, yeah, but then we make it a competition, and it's not always about that.
No, I mean it's just for fun. No, we don't have to be a competition.
It is. But you're gonna pick. We just pick games that we feel like playing. We're not always trying to pick better games than each other. So
I think it's fun.
Yeah, it is. So before we go though, Noah, we're starting a new round. So maybe you'll pick a game as good as Terra Enigma. Maybe you won't. Hopefully you do, but who knows?
Well,
so what are we playing?
I do I was going over my game club list a couple of days ago, and I have a lot of PS1 games lined up. So before we get into the long list of PS1 games, I'm gonna pick a compared to them a newer game, one that I've had for a while now that I always wanted to play but never got a chance to. Apotheon. You get to learn a little bit more about Greeks.
I have this game.
Sweet.
All right. Nice. Okay. Well,
did you play it
awesome.
yet?
No.
Oh, perfect. Me neither.
Well, perfect. You already own it?
Yes.
Oh, well, look at that. It's all falling into place. So it's pronounced Apotheon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we're going to be playing Apotheon. In 2 weeks, we're going to come back and talk about it. Thank you guys for joining me. I want to thank you, Ills, and thank you, Noah. Thank you, everybody, for listening even more. Go out there, play some video games, and be nice.